This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Blak Magus, and Paris Games Week is here, and I totally forgot about it with so much stuff going on in my life. I've kind of been distracted from the gaming scene, but I saw the announcement that Sony's doing their press conference for Paris Games Week at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time in the morning. You're on the West Coast, so I guess that's 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Everybody else in between those two time zones for the U.S., or if you're abroad in Europe and all that, you probably can get a sense of what time it's going to be for you from that information. So if you want to check it out, check it out. It's probably going to be an interesting conference because Sony has already got ahead of themselves and made the announcement that you're going to hear at least 7 new titles introduced. Plus, you're going to get updates on stuff that's been in production or that's on the way. So probably should expect some God of War news, some Last of Us 2 news maybe. Although I have a feeling that they're going to save The Last of Us for the PlayStation experience if they're going to do anything demonstrative with that. What else is out there that Sony is working on? There's probably a bunch of stuff that they can announce and put out there. Sony has so many exclusive properties that, and they have a number of studios that they can give these games to that, who knows, they could bring back old series like Siphon Filter. They can forge ahead and do new stuff like they did this year with Horizon Zero Dawn. It's going to be interesting to see because Paris Games Week was never a big deal until Sony decided a couple of years ago that, hey, we're going to go to one of these. And they did that last year, did a conference, and they've been consistent with it since they announced that they were going to go there and make it a big thing. I think it's cool that they decide to wait till after summer to do this because there's not that many conferences once you get past PAX West. Let me roll that back. After the Tokyo Game Show, which is like early September, mid-September. After that, it tends to dry out, but Sony has made a point of putting the Paris Games Week out there and doing their own experience where they do announcements to kind of keep the news cycle going, garner the attention. I keep saying I wish Microsoft would do something because I think Microsoft could really, really benefit from doing their own show. Maybe with the launch of the Xbox One X, this is something that they'll start doing, having a major brand showcase. Of course, my feelings also is that I believe there's some type of personal war going on in between the company where it's been stated when he took over that the new head of Microsoft Corporation kind of doesn't want to do the Xbox anymore, and was looking for a way to discontinue making it. Whereas you have Phil Spencer, who everybody loves, and who's been pushing the agenda to bring, the Xbox brand back to the prominence it once had. He's fighting tooth and nail to make the best console possible for consumers, and for its fan base in particular. So I don't know. I would love to see them take that step, leap in, and do these extra things like Sony's been doing, because I think they can make a really good showing out of it. Microsoft's always been great at presentation, but anyway, that's just an aside right there. Back to Sony's conference. What else should we expect? At this point, Sony's been very slow and methodical with their rolling out of content. I know people have complained about how they got all these games in development, but nothing's dropped yet. I've always been comfortable with that because I've always said, take your time, make the game good. Don't just rush something out just to put something out. Um, that's how you end up tanking a franchise or an idea. And to be quite honest, with the way that things are going business wise for Sony, in particular for PlayStation, I should say, they don't have a reason to rush. The console's still selling well. There's a good library of past exclusives and current third party games that people can buy. PlayStation Plus is offering some pretty decent things these days to supplement people. You have the free to play games, so you don't have to worry about having PlayStation Plus. There's a ton of different things like Warframe and what have you that you can jump in on the PlayStation and play. They have, from a gamer's perspective, they have a pretty solid, um, platform for people to get in without them having to overflood you. And I think one of the problems from last generation was that in that rush to get back to a competitive level with the Xbox brand, they flooded out a lot of exclusives at the wrong time. I remember in particular the year where they had what was it, Infamous 2 and what were the other exclusives that came out? But the year that Infamous 2 came out, there was a bunch of other exclusives that kind of tumbled on top of each other, and none of them really sold well. It was like a split thing. Like they all sold maybe 1 or 2 million copies apiece. But now you see the sales for stuff like Uncharted, for Horizon Zero Dawn, things like that. Having that spacing had helped with those and made people flock to that because that was the next big thing. And the fact that they were not only the next big thing, but they ended up being hits made it even better. So they were able to get that push. Whereas the year of Infamous 2, there were a lot of good games and there were a couple of hits. I cannot remember what else came out that year. That's so weird. But they cannibalized each other. And that was something that Sony was famous for doing, was cannibalizing their sales by just doing these big drops of different games at the same time. Now they kind of learned the idea of spacing, timing it right. They might do a cannibalization next year though, because you have a lot of things that may come out next year, like the aforementioned Last of Us 2, God of War, and things like that. But we'll see what's going to happen with Paris Games Week. I'm very interested to see what these 7 games are. If they're all first party exclusives, a mix of third party and first party stuff, things like that. It should be pretty damn interesting because it's shaking up things at a time where there really isn't a lot of big news. You're getting all these big games like Battlefront 2, Assassin's Creed Origins, Super Mario Odyssey, Call of Duty, World War II. You're getting a big games dump of big titles right now, but you're not getting a huge dump of news. And Sony's seems to be prepared to dump a lot of news on us this coming Monday, October 30th, at 11:30 Eastern Time in the morning, as I said before. So you guys want to check that out, check that out. I'll be checking it out, and I'll give my thoughts on it as soon as possible. So look out for that on the channel. Anyway, as always, you guys feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Magus, and I'm out, y'all. Deuces.